Hi, we are going to be continuing with a sequence of interconnected sutras that I think will become evident in its own somewhat subtle way. Starting with 6177, Ikoyanachi, Ikoyanachi, 6178, Echo Yav Ayavaha, Echo Yav Ayavaha, and 6179, Sutra du jour, Vanto Yi Pratyaye, Vanto Yi Pratyaye. Now, we're going to have to do some preparation before we get to the more in-depth discussion of Vanto Yi Pratyaye. And this is complicated. And so, once again, I would ask you to try not to be discouraged by the complexity. It's very unlikely that all of this will come together right away, and it certainly may take quite some time. Along the way, you will come to understand the different pieces much more clearly as we use them. And one day they will all snap together and it will be like a light going on, and you'll feel like you've discovered that you're standing in the middle of a beautiful palace or something. But the idea of what I mean by learning the grammar, I think will become very tangible. Today will be complicated, not the only one. So let's get going. We have to start by looking back at a sutra that we discussed some time ago, 1176, Yena Fitis Darantasya, Yena Fitis Darantasya, and 26 in Siddhanta Kaumudi. Now, I actually did 3 videos about this sutra, and they were number 39, 40, and 41. I'm not going to do it all the time, but these are worth looking back at. Now, 39 is the basic discussion of Yena Vidistadantasya, and 40 gets pretty complicated, and it's not something that really will probably hang together at one viewing, but we're going to go over overlapping material today, and you'll see what I mean shortly. So Yena Vitis Darantasya, one of the fundamental sutras that says an adjective stands for itself, which is not the key thing usually, but the one that ends with it, the one that ends with it. That's the meaning we're after. And that gets complicated by a paribhasha, and in that video I discuss a little bit what that means, but it's one of about 100 listed by Nagesha, and that have come to be incorporated in our sense of the grammar, even though they're not vartikas and so on. So this paribhasha is a modification of Yena Vitis Darantasya, Yasmin Vidihi Tad Adau Ol Grchane, Yasmin Vidihi Tad Adau Ol Grchane. And what this says is that a single lettered adjective, ul, which I may have been a little bit kind of arrogant when I said that the other people who say it doesn't have to be a single letter are wrong. We'll say it's subject to interpretations by different people, but the tradition that I have come from describes as referring to a single letter. So a single lettered adjective employed in saptami stands for the one beginning with it. In other words, Yena Vidistadantasya says adjectives stand for the one that ends with it, but if the adjective, and I talked about that in the other videos, is a loose translation of it, you'll see how that operates more. if that adjective is a single, constitutes a single letter and is in septimi, it stands for the one beginning with it. Beginning with it. So here are the, and of course I will endeavor to get these all in the notes, but 176 and 26 in Siddhanta Comedy, yena vitis tarantasya, an adjective stands for itself and the one which ends with it. Paribhasha, yasmin vidihi tadadau al grahne, a single-lettered adjective employed in septimi stands for the one beginning with it. Now, this is where it got complicated in my earlier video. I'm not going to go into it in as much depth, but there is a Sandhi Sutra which is very handy because this one sutra illustrates both. So we're not going to go through the whole meaning of the sutra, but just looking at its two parts. Upasargat rti tatau. Upasargat rti tatau. So the first part is at upasargat. At upasargat. At upasargat in the Panchami, and since we know by the tasmati tyuttarasya, we know that Panchami means that something is referring to one which follows. Now, at is not taparastat kalasya of dirgha a. It is Panchami of hrasva a, not dirgha a hrasva a. So that's fine. It's not in septimi or anything, so it just goes by yena vitis tarantasya. So the meaning of at upasargat is that which follows an ending upasarga. At upasargat and ending upasargat by yena vitis tarantasya. Then the second part of the sutra, rti tatau. Rti tatau. Now rti is septimi of r. Septimi of r. And r is definitely a single lettered. And it's an adjective because it's an injunction which applies to something else. So it applies to the verb, and the will come as the first because of yasmin vidihi tadadal agrahane. Yasmin vidihi tadadal agrahane. Because it is a single lettered adjective in the septimi, it means it applies that the will come not as the final one to the dhatu, but as the beginning one of the dhatu. So in this one sutra, you see both of these variants of the application of adjectives to the things they're modifying. Now we can come back to, or come more meaningfully to, our sutra today. So one thing is, as I expressed them, these are a sequence. Ikoyanachi, echo yavayavaha. Now, echo yavayavaha includes achi from ikoyanachi as anuvritti, and achi pare echahastane yavayavaha. So achi comes down from ikoyanachi. One of the reasons that the experience of what we're doing is very different, as I keep saying, but it's a real thing from Siddhanta Kaumudi, where ikoyanachi is 47 and echoya vayavaha is 61. So, you don't have any inherent connection. Now, the sutra that we're going to talk about today is Vantoyi Pratyaye. Vantoyi Pratyaye. And echaha comes from echo yavayavaha down into vantoyi pratyaye, Sutra 78, 79. So looking at vantoyi pratyaye more closely, we see it as v antaha yi pratyaye, v antaha. Now the of va is in my as I've learned it's called ucharanartha. Ucharanartha. That means it's for the sake of pronunciation. Now, I don't know exactly how this came about, or I keep reaching for it. Maybe it was originally nasally pronounced, which would be great. Then we don't need to have any ucharanartha explanations. In any case, va antaha is really v antaha. So v antaha yi pratyaye echaha is the full sutra. V antaha yi pratyaye echaha. So ye pratyaya, or ye pratyaya, because ye is septami, it means a ye beginning suffix, And what pratyaya is saying is tasminiti nirdishte purvasya. So when a y beginning suffix, yi pratyaya, and again, this is what we were just discussing, it's the exception to yenavati studentasya. It's yasmin vidihi tadada al-karchene. So yi pratyaye pare purvasya echaha vantaha. In place, when a y beginning suffix follows, in place of the preceding h, vantaha. Now, it's a Bahuverhi compound because it means the one that ends with v, So when y beginning suffix follows, yi pratyaye pare purvasya echaha vantaha, in place of the preceding h, and of course that's shashti sthana yoga, purvasya echaha sthane vantaha. Okay, so far so good. But as is often the case, that leaves us a little bit up in the air, because what exactly do we mean by vantaha? Well, here's again where context means everything, kind of, because vantaha refers to the preceding sutra, ho, or echaha I of, from the preceding sutra, ho I of. So the vantaha are of and of. They are the v ending ones. So the stanins of and of, well, what are they? Well, there's two of those, and a, o, I, ow. There's four of the stanins in H. In place of H comes these two. So how do we work that out? Well, the understanding is, again, related entirely to the sequence of sutras, because the stanins of and of in the preceding sutra, namely Ho Yavayavaha, were O and Ao. So they are taken as the stanins here as well. That means they are the ones being replaced. So keep putting it all together. When a y beginning suffix follows, in place of the preceding O and Ao, of and of come. And here now we've got Yata Sankhya Manavidesha Samanam and Stanentaratamaha both. So they come respectively, which is another way of saying in ordered pairs. So down here, then we have the examples. First we have the full sutra. Yi pratyaye pare purvasya echaha vantaha. Yi pratyaye pare purvasya echaha vantaha. Yi tasmin, septami of yi. Yi pratyaye, a ya beginning pratyaya follows. In place of h comes vantaha, the va ending ones. So, examples: go plus ya becomes gov plus ya. Gov ya, go ya, gov ya. The o is replaced by of. Now plus ya becomes nav ya. There you go. And so it's not so overwhelming when you take it step by step. So I hope you're able to make some sense of it. Thanks.